Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Morning. How are you?
Good.
We don't get to see much of you.
I'm always taking care of the dogs. I have so many other things I'm doing all the time. Mike's running around doing jobs, and then I'm doing everything else. So I have not a lot. I do not have a lack of things to do.
You're like I am. You do 50 things at once, and maybe you get five things done.
I'm working on that. I'm working on, like let's accomplish this first thing before I start the other 5, 10, 15 other things that I'm doing on the side.
Oh, I
Okay.
wasn't muted. Okay.
No, you're there.
Yeah, let me just go make sure these live streams are all working. Let's see who's in here. Okay, so good morning to Darlene. Good morning, Mr. Rittenauer.
Good morning.
And then
Morning.
I'm not sure if the others are here. It's all the note takers. So, okay. So how are you doing, David?
Doing good. I, how do you stop watching too many YouTube channels?
I wish I could tell you because I'm literally looking at YouTube channels every single day. But mine's from I wanted to look nice and I have been asked to give feedback and I also want to give feedback that where I'm not hurting somebody's feelings
Hmm.
because yesterday's call, yesterday my meetings were with local business owners here in College Station, Texas. And, they're giving me feedback on how they got started. And I'm like, hey, your YouTube links, your YouTube icon's not even on your website. And then, oh, wait, you have the same YouTube name as six other people. And then, oh, like the graphics aren't centered on your background. So when I'm looking at it on mobile, because of course we have to yeah, we have to look at our channels in the eyes of the audience and who is consuming your content and what are they seeing. So some people are going to be on a phone, some are going to be on an iPad, some are going to be on a desktop or laptop computer, and others are going to be watching it on a 100-inch TV. And you want it to be a similar experience, but without looking at it from that lens, you wouldn't think about all those factors. And then, like, it just, I'm looking at it from a different lens. And when I'm having, I don't think anybody I sat down with yesterday wanted me to stop the analysis, but it's like, hey, I want to make sure you're okay with this level of feedback because we just met and I don't want to scare you away. I'm just going to give you a lot of value. And if you're open to it, let's continue this conversation on a like paid one-on-one consulting gig, right? Because I want to make sure that you're empowered and whoever you're using right now to manage your YouTube, they are helpful maybe in certain aspects, like a traditional virtual assistant, but they're not they don't know what it's supposed to look like. So let's train you and your team to make it look the way that you're all, make it look pretty and organized and all that fun stuff. So it's, I may be looking at YouTube channels from a different lens than yourself, but I look at a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff. And then people argue with me a little bit. They're like, "No, what are you talking about? I've got three YouTube channels." I'm like, "Okay, well, I can't find them, so give me the channel names so I can go look at." I found out this week somebody admitted they deleted a channel that had over 2,500 subscribers, and I was like, "You deleted a channel with over 2,500 subscribers? I can't believe somebody talked you into deleting an audience Like 2,500 subscribers is a huge feat. I don't have 2,500 subscribers on my channel, so that's a lot of work and effort and time went into building a channel of 2,500 subscribers, and somebody convinced you to delete it. Like I'm just like I can't like I've never heard I've heard people deleting or unlisting it, like deleting videos or unlisting videos because they want to re-edit them and give them a new title and description, but I've never heard the words I deleted a channel with 2,500 subscribers. Like new information to I'm like it hurts hearing that. And they asked me why it was bad. I'm like, you've spent all that time and energy building a YouTube channel that had 2,500 subscribers. Most people don't even have that many people on an email list. And it's okay if you needed to rebrand it, but that's like, no, I'm just like, my mind's blown by hearing that information this week. So, but I learn new stuff every day by asking people what their journey's been, with promoting and advertising their business because he's a business owner, right? I was like, I can't, like,
There's so
but
many other options besides deleting an entire YouTube channel. There's so many other ways that could have been
which
taken.
is,
So that was his professional, whoever was the professional he dealt with, told him to remove
well,
it.
I don't think it was a professional. I think it was a virtual assistant. So we're just gonna put that there that there's
I didn't like the content he was making. That's what
pre
I'm gonna get.
pre
They didn't
pres
like the content, so convince them to remove it. But if you have 2,500 people, it wasn't necessarily the content. And if you didn't want to build it anymore, it's even something you can leave it and come back to in the future if you ever wanted. Like
Can,
deleting it was just totally extreme in the wrong way.
can
but
you change the content if you don't like it?
just unlist the videos and then you
Just
can go
unlist
change.
the videos. Oh,
Unlist the videos, change the wall, change the desktop, your YouTube landscape, like your top bar, change that, and unlist the videos and just add new content. There's many. I have rebranded channels. I have a channel, and it's over 1,000. It should be monetized, but we haven't received the postcard in the mail that YouTube still does stuff old school. Like once you achieve your 1,000 subscribers and your 4,000 watch hours, they're going to send a paper postcard in the mail with a security code on it because they want to prove that you're a real human and not a bot, not AI. So if you never receive that postcard in the mail with that security code, that channel doesn't get activated as monetized. So I have one channel and that is perpetually been stuck in limbo for almost a year now.
because you don't have an address or what?
No, it's because I've never received that. I never received the security code. I shipped it to my Canadian address. I didn't receive it. Then I'm like, hey, well, I'd rather have it associated, but it was during a Canada Post strike. We never received it. And you can re-request it, but you can only re-request it once every like 90 days. So last year, I'm like, hey, I'm gonna send it to my office in Dubai. We never received it. And it's like, okay, now I want to shift it to I don't know I don't know if I can change the country code on it again. I'm trying to get a hold of one of my friends in Dubai and say, hey, I'm trying to get I'm trying to convince somebody in Dubai to let me ship it to their residential address rather than a business address. But that's like pulling teeth. So Darlene's very gracious and lets me ship stuff to her in Texas. Not everybody agrees to get my mail. So I was like, okay, this channel, but this is why we're documenting perfect content for YouTube University. This is why we're documenting the steps of, hey, we want to teach you how to promote yourself by one video a week going to YouTube and all these other and all these other platforms. When you achieve monetization, your 1,000 subs and your 4,000 watch hours, then you're gonna have the steps added. If you want to, if you want to accept monetization, accept YouTube sharing a part of AdSense revenue with you and all the other perks of monetization, you have to be able to receive this security postcard in the mail. And then you have to submit your tax information and your bank account information. And if they don't like the information you submit, then your account gets put on hold for like 30 days. And then they retry, and then they retry. So there's all these steps and hurdles once you achieve something with YouTube, to all these hurdles you have to get out of the way. So we have two accounts that are relatively no issues. And then we have one that's stuck in limbo. And then my daughter's account should have been monetized 3 times over, but because she's under the age requirements, they just keep pushing that goalpost. So she should have been monetized, and then they're like, "Oh, you're too young." And then she got monetized again. Oh, you're still too young. And then I think last July they switched it to 15. So I told her, I'm like, hey, you're at that point where once you turn 15, you'll be automatically monetized. However, if they change other hurdles, if they change it to 16 or 18 before you get to 15, these are all the learning things that we're learning in the thick of it to teach everybody. So you know what to expect. So we're just documenting. We're gonna have a great book content when that book comes out about our framework to get everybody monetized, and then all the catches, the gotchas. It's like, hey, you thought you were great, and then there's just all there may be some hurdles where you may breeze through the hurdles. We did on 2 accounts, and then the other accounts, it's like, okay, there's just environmental variables that have stopped us from making it as easy as the first two, but that might be planned by YouTube because my name's on 3 of my accounts, and it shouldn't be a problem to have multiple monetized YouTube accounts because you have to have a separate email address for all of those accounts. But I know there's been instances where I go to sign up for like another Gmail address from Gmail, and they're like, "Hey, you have too many Gmail accounts associated with one phone number." And then I registered another phone number, and then I registered another phone number. So there's always some interesting thing going on with Google and YouTube that, as long as you're patient and operating with an open mind and clarity, you can accept a challenge. But if you get stressed out really quickly, then this is why it's great to have a YouTube producer in your back corner say, hey, I've already gone through this. I've gone through this step. Yeah, I was expecting this. I told you there might be some hurdles to jump through, some potholes along the road to YouTube success. I'm just gonna verify we're still. So anyway, yeah. So David brought up the reviewing YouTube channels. So this is what when your YouTube channels are ready to be shared, I'll be in your corner and looking for, okay, making sure that we are happy with how everything looks, and titles are good and descriptions are good and your links and your YouTube. I just want to make sure that your audience journey makes sense on your YouTube channel. And there's a lot of different ways we can lay out your content, especially when you start producing content on a regular basis. We can use playlists as a way to guide your audience through your offers and products and services, and what you want them to learn from your YouTube channel. I know when I was talking to somebody yesterday morning, um, he's like, well, I solve like pain, like body pain issues. It was like, well, how many different types of body pain do people come in? He's a chiropractor. And he's like, well, there's like 12. And I was like, okay, so you could really start with one playlist just focused on stretches you could do at home, or workout routines at the gym. Really trying to get him to like record himself at the gym because I think people would really engage with that type of content, especially if he's giving you step-by-step exercises to do to relieve pain. His goal, of course, is to get you to book a chiropractor appointment so you can come into the studio and he's going to go through all this stuff with you hands-on, right? But if you're not nearby or you're just learning what his personality is, and if you like his personality, I'm like, let's just create a journey for them on YouTube and utilize like make a playlist for solving this one type of pain and what you would suggest, and then the second playlist for the next type of thing, next common reason people come in because that's what he does. You say you've got knee pain or back pain or shoulder pain or whatever, and he's prescribing exercises to relieve that before he has to go into bone cracking. And I'm like, thinking chiropractors only do bone cracks. No, no, no. That's like the last resort to get you into alignment. So I was like, okay, I am not that educated on what chiropractors do.
Well,
But
and I'm sure that with any industry, some are better than others, right? Like
well,
had that experience with acupuncturists are not all the same either, right? So
exactly.
it gives them, well, definitely if we're going back to the YouTube thing, it is giving you that authority, right? So then people, because we were even talking about how somebody sees you online and they build that trust, they will easily travel across the country to come see people. I have seen that in other industries where somebody just wants to meet that person because they've built the trust through consistent videos, consistently showing what they're doing. And now they trust that person and they'll go out of their way to find that person. So that is also like one of the biggest returns on investments is that you expand beyond just your local community, which especially when you're in a smaller business, that can be very beneficial. And that's one of the reasons that we're building the visibility engineer engine is really because of that and seeing that because that was one of the hugest hurdles, especially during COVID, is if you did not have an online presence and you were in Canada, your business, I would guarantee, does not exist at this point. Because that's what happened. Because your locals can't come to you, you have no online presence. How are they going to buy from you, right? And it doesn't even matter what service you offer.
Yeah, yeah. And it's really, making content's really just documenting the services you're offering and how, it's really just documenting the client journey. It's like, hey, this is the staff. This is what the staff do every single day to make sure the customers have um satisfaction's guaranteed. Your whole goal is to spend less on ads. If you're spending money on ads in your business, spend less money on that stuff, attract your ideal clients, and get referrals, word of mouth referrals. Like 20 years of me being in business, majority of clients, it's word of mouth referrals. I've been there. I've spent money on ads. I've spent six figures on ads before and during COVID, and I'm like, we had brought clients in. Were they the ideal clients? Not necessarily. And but those were like one-time sales. And you're like, okay, well, how do you convert people from low on your ascension ladder? How do you get a client to become a repeat client? Well, usually, you know, you need to describe what the other products and services are, and if they like you, you convince them to like be a repeat customer. So it's like, what else can you offer? And if you have video documentation of the other services that you can offer, like, oh, hey, you're not a one-trick pony. So
Well, I think this is a good, if anybody has any questions, we should deal with them, but maybe we should show them a preview of the visibility engine.
okay. Do you have it up?
Oh, here, let me find the.
We've been working on recording webinar and building pieces in the back end for this because we get a lot of requests for one-on-one and training, bit like one-on-one verifying that the proper pieces are going into the proper place at the proper time, especially when we're asking you to like make one video per week and redistribute it everywheres. And we have discussed this in the early weeks of YouTube University, and some have kind of naturally done it themselves, and others need a, more hand holding with it. So we're like, okay, we've listened to feedback, and we're like, hey, we're approaching May. We're in March. May is officially 1 year of the 1 year anniversary of YouTube Famous. Then that is why we're also planning more in-person boot camps where we can hold your hand and say, hey, this is how your YouTube should look like. And here's the first 30 videos you should really start with, and here's how your YouTube experience should be for your audience that you're going to be attracting to your YouTube channel.
Mm,
So
yeah. Well, why don't you? Well, I think you.
I'm trying to bring up the notes that you sent me.
I sent a nice email. I laughed as I sent the subject. Yeah, because we work that way. It was like, hey,
Um,
biatch, here's your link.
yeah, and you sent me it. Why doesn't it doesn't open on my iPhone? Okay, now this is embarrassing because it doesn't open on my iPhone. I got the file on my iPhone. Why does it not open on my iPhone?
I don't know, because it's one of the old documents that I've complained about using when I
Yeah,
put
because I keep
notes in.
telling you to use Google Docs and you say no. So I was like,
I didn't.
okay.
I don't have it set up. Okay, my tech department there has not put an easy link for me to use, so I'm
It,
just gonna use what's easiest.
it's literally docs.gmail.com.
Oh, that's too many words. Seriously, I want it just easy links.
Okay, so um, email it. Okay, let's see.
Y'all sound like Jennifer and I.
No, I know. I enjoy listening to
Yeah, they
because
probably heard it all from me. Like in all honesty, the reason I'm sure Mike gets along and he's like my like for especially tech women in our age, women are his main like clients, majority of them. And it's probably because of me, because I am probably his most difficult client because he knows that I'm like, I don't like the way this looks. I don't like the way this is set up. Can you make this look like it did before?
I have to say that it's not just my wife. I deal with a lot of professional females, and that would be realtors, that would be doctors, that would be lawyers, very high-end professionals, like six, seven-figure ladies who they have a lot of stuff going on. They demand a lot of stuff, and I fix a lot of stuff, and I don't complain because I've got a lot of patience, and I understand straightening out technology flow because sometimes you're like, hey, this worked great for 5 years, and why is it now broken?
There we go.
Um, and I'm like, because technology changes, or you did a software update, or you've been using stuff and I've been band-aiding it for 10 years. And now the band-aid I had this last week when I was working at the trade show here in Texas, trying to move somebody off of Microsoft Outlook into Thunderbird, which is a different email software, and that is literally she's still complaining. And last night was Friday, and I started the process last Friday of like making sure one email program looks like another. And this is a business professional who makes six figures per year and is just going crazy about why she has to change her email program. And I'm like, I didn't make the change, but I'm going to assist you along you're re until you accept the change, I'm gonna be there every step of the way because you're paying me monthly, and I tell you you get unlimited support. So I'm gonna stick by our deal and make sure that I do it because you send me good referrals. So I'm
You
just
have learned women like things a specific way, and each woman's going to like it a little different, but you'll figure out that they want it, and whether it's they don't like the color, some things my husband
well,
cannot change.
that's the thing. The color of
Some
the
things
icon.
there are not possible to change, and sometimes we do have to accept it. But I'm just saying, you want me to use the Google Docs, you got to get me a
No,
link and
and
remove
you know
my other.
what? It's actually good because I know that somebody I was talking to yesterday, like when you like the idea of YouTube University and you're like, hey, I'm already making content, but I'm so burnt out because I don't like Instagram. I don't like face. I'm like, I hear this a lot. I don't like how this works. I don't want to be on the hamster wheel of content production. And I totally get it because um, if you don't naturally have the skills of record something, and then you're like, well, which poison do I pick? Do I pick this platform or this platform or this platform? We want to make it super simple and straightforward for you because I hear that a lot.
Are you ready
And
for
this
the
is why
presentation?
we've literally have come up with this class and now with this specific visibility engine framework because it's like I want you to make one piece of content per week. Start with YouTube and then automatically using a different piece. Automatically, as soon as you upload it to YouTube, it's going to go to all the other places. So you're sending out you're sending out one message and building multiple different audiences at the same time. There might be tech issues we come along with. There's going to be we're going to introduce something new into your business. And then there's always going to be these hurdles we have to get over. But since I've been producing this content for years and doing this strategy for years for myself, for my wife, and for a select handful of other people who've been along this journey with us, I'm like, hey, we've sorted out all the rough edges, and it's really anybody can do this as long as we're making content. And we start with the one piece and we get stable with that for the 52 weeks for your first year. And then once we know that it's a good flow and when you're consistent, then we add the second, we're doing a second video per week, but I don't want to stress
Well,
you out.
you're already, let's go through the
Yeah, yeah,
PowerPoint.
yeah, I know. I'm
Talk
just like, this
about
is why we've built this. And it's just like now it's like smoothed out. So okay, let me see. How to stop being invisible. How to stop being invisible. Building a visibility engine using YouTube. So give us feedback on this because we've been working on this for a while.
So the economic survival is when visibility disappears, business disappears. So this is really the reason we started doing this was, as I talked about, being from Canada, being in the lockdown and seeing all of all of our clients, like majority of my husband's clients were small, medium-sized businesses. And we're still seeing that any that were left are pretty much done at this point. I don't know if there's really a lot of them even left functioning anymore. There's part of the reason,
Realtors are still in business.
well, but a lot of the realtors are making themselves more visible because they'll do the realtor ads and it's more in that local community and everybody has to buy. So it's sometimes with niches can be a little different, but the reality is when your visibility disappears, the businesses are gone, right? Like you don't have a business if there's no one that can find you, right? So what the invisibility gap becomes is first you're invisible, so nobody knows you exist, right? You can do random postings or you're dependent on one platform. So it's literally like kind of like throwing things out. It's very much, I compare it to doing advertisements, right? Like if you can find the perfect niche to advertise, like we know that some realtors, they've got their perfect advertising bench or whatever, and that works for them, right? Great if you can find that dependable platform. But for the majority of us and what we're making, random posts and depending on one platform is not going to help us be invisible. We need to be literally, I guess my way of saying it is we literally need to puke our content, our information everywhere. We want it everywhere.
So what is one extra client per month worth to you, right? Because I can easily go into my back end and say, hey, this is what my average client's worth on the low ticket, the medium, and the high ticket, no matter what I'm selling. So take your average client value, times that by 12. That is the value of one extra client per month. And I have not met anybody who says, I don't need one extra client per month. Everybody says, I've got capacity to take on more clients.
So as we've talked about, for everybody that's come all the time, our this is really what we're looking at, right? We want to create the content. We're using YouTube as the foundational layer. So that is really the holding place because that's one of the actual easiest areas to put your content, and then from there, put your content everywhere else. It is from what we've done, all of our research, once you get into the YouTube, everything from there, you can put it into essentially every other platform that exists. YouTube is itself is a fantastic area because once it's also there, it's there forever. Unless you delete your channel or remove the videos, it's always there. So people can always find the content you've made anytime that they look, right? So you can make something today that in 10 years people are still watching. So that's why we chose YouTube, is not only that it is the perfect place to put your content and then have it literally go live or posted from everywhere else as the foundation. It's also feeds into the Google algorithms, and it feeds that you've got that content, essentially building your library. So then you've got your repurpose from YouTube, then it goes to every platform that you want it to go to, and it really gives you that search footprint, because the more platforms you're on, if it's feeding into Google and it's feeding into all the different platforms, when somebody looks up your business, you're going to be found. So that's how you go from being invisible to actually being seen. Why this does work, because it is the base asset. I kind of pretty much explained that. It's searchable. YouTube is what, the second largest search engine? Is that right, Mike? Because it's Google and then YouTube.
Well,
Is that how that works?
it's the number one it's the number one video platform today, like 2026. Net more eyeballs on YouTube every day than Netflix and Disney Plus combined. So while it is number two search, it's still owned by Google. So everything that's posted on YouTube is indexed by Google. So it's just when you get that business card from that like business trade show and you go look somebody up, if they're on YouTube, that's their stuff's going to show up on Google. And so if it's showing up on Google, you know it's going to be showing up on AI search engines as well. So we're just like,
Yes, that's a good point.
exactly, exactly. A lot of people forget about the AI search engines, and I was like, this is why we want a lot of backlinks from Google, from YouTube. That's why it's the foundation, because Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, they will send one or two links to Google for you, but if your YouTube just sends more, and that's why I love using it. I just love searching for people, and I'm like, hey, this is as a customer, this is what I see on Google when I look you up. Let's clean this up and let's get way more content.
I think Darlene had a question. Go ahead,
Yeah, go ahead,
Darlene.
darling.
So, my granddaughter is starting her new business, esthetician.
Yeah.
So, do you start off with Google Business or do you do the YouTube channel first? Which
I would in May, I saw her post yesterday. Um, I Google My Business is great. If you depending on your jurisdiction, it may take a little bit of time to get listed. So it should be kind of done at the same time, because what we would really love would you be for you to search her name or the business name and have, the website show up. I don't know how many estheticians there are in College Station, so she
oh,
might
there's a
have,
lot.
you're gonna have some competition. So applying for that Google business listing, it took us 6 months to get listed in New Jersey. So it took a while, and in that meantime, I was making YouTube content because if you're in a tough jurisdiction and Google calls you, we got Google Maps on the phone. They were so frustrated with us. And they're like, where's your website? And I'm like, you can see my website. And they're like, where's your authority pieces? I'm like, YouTube, YouTube, YouTube. And they're like, you've done your video. Like, we had to submit all these pieces of authority to Google Maps when they phoned us. They told me they didn't like something on my website. So in real time, I was in Go High Level editing my website to appease the employee at Google Maps, and then they turned it on. So sometimes it's a challenge, and that's why you need to make sure that you've got all your assets. It's like going to the
Exactly. And it's a different, and we have learned it's a completely different experience depending on jurisdiction and who you are. So we were able to, no problem in Oxford, Nova Scotia, Canada, super easy. I was able to to be able to put up in Biloxi, Mississippi. I spent enough time there, made enough content. It was so easy. So it was a totally different experience. But then the experience, what we had in New Jersey or what we had in Dubai, or even in our own location back in Alberta, was a completely different experience based on different factors.
like
So it's really it's interesting because we can definitely add that and help people. But
it it
it's one tool you want to use with it, right?
Okay, so do you start the you? So my question was, which one do you do first?
You do
I
them at the
would
same
I
time.
would
You
do them at this
multitask them,
I would
Darlene.
do them at
Okay,
the
got
same time.
Yeah, you start putting it in there when she's got a location. She goes and applies to start doing that while she's making her videos, right? Like you just have it on your daily checklist. You're doing both of those things and starting them because you
We
don't
ran
know
into
how it's
this
going to work
we
out.
ran into this question a
okay.
couple weeks ago because a friend said I show up on Google Maps, but it's the wrong address. And I was like, so Google has already put you on Google Maps. And I went and checked. They haven't even claimed their Google Maps. So I'm like, hey, Google may, if you're an established business with the government, Google may have already put you on Google Maps. And then you have to do the work of claiming it and proving you're the business owner. Like it's can be a couple months
Mhm.
process to get that working for you. And then of course, once you activate it, you're going to want to get the 5-star reviews
Yeah.
because so there
And
can
then when you have that, you also then can have your videos linked to your Google Maps. And then this all circles around to why you're making the content, right? Because
exactly.
again, you've got your content, which is giving you your authority. So again, once you've built it, so her making the videos now, that's evergreen. It's always there. So starting to make those videos right off the bat, no one can take them away. And then once she's up on Google, she can always put those into the Google Maps as well. Like there's so many ways you can kind of structure that. And then of course, repurposable, that would be the same idea. You can repurpose them for Google Maps or for promotions, or if you do pay for doing advertisements in the future, you never know which parts of your content you may decide to use. And it really does compound over time. So that is the point, is that over time, you've built your authority. Oops, let me see if I can switch to the next one. So the visibility engine 8-week installation sprint. So Mike, it's yours, I believe.
Okay. So yes, good start is 30 videos published. We're gonna help you work on clear positioning, building the search presence, implementing the repurpose system. And you may like be like, what is repurposing? We're already gonna, and during this 8 weeks, get 30 pieces of content created because we want to make sure once you get started, you've got this like ramp. You're like, okay, I'm gonna have more than 8 weeks of content. You're gonna have 30 pieces of content because once we get started with this, we don't want you to fall off the tracks.
And that doesn't
And
mean that you're going to necessarily post all 30 pieces to be live and public in those
no,
8 weeks.
it's just to get a good chunk because there's 52 weeks in a year, and that's we need some lead time because there's going to be stuff happening in your life. And we just know that if we get 30 pieces started, you've got over the creativity block, the production block. We've built you a production checklist. And with the repurposing, there's a piece of software that we use. And as soon as you upload your content to YouTube, it's grabbing it and natively posting it to LinkedIn and Facebook and TikTok and Instagram. And our focus is on YouTube and repurposing it, but if you already have a team of your virtual assistants doing the other platforms for you, this repurpose software will also grab the stuff that they're doing on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and grabbing it and throwing it up on YouTube for you. And it's just, we want you to work smarter and not harder with this. So build out a clear plan to make this content and produce it. and get it everywheres. So you're building multiple audiences at the same time with the same amount of effort you're already putting into it. And then laying out your monetization roadmap for you. So in starting in April, we're going to do this 8-week sprint where we are putting in the piece, helping you build all these pieces so that way you've got a system that you can, after the 8 weeks, you can continue doing it yourself or find out if you need one-on-one coaching with us, and then we'll do that plan.
Yes, and I did forget to mention with the 8-week installation, we are going to have 2 sessions a week. So our plan is we'll have the Monday is probably the first session, and then a Thursday, which is Q&A, where you can meet and come bring your
Yes.
questions. We can review content, and we'll be doing a private YouTube group or Facebook group, as well as we'll do content reviews. So we've got a whole bunch of features of what will be included
Yeah.
for
Oh,
the
exact.
for our first what was it, sorry, for the, what's the word I'm looking for our founders, for our first group of founders in this group. That was the word I
Yeah,
was trying to
and the
look
most important thing is doing that like end of the week checklist, because we know that business owners, hey, family, kids, there's always stuff going on, and we want to make sure at the start of the week we're checking with you, the end of the week, because you may have like 4 good weeks and then a bad week, and we're like, okay, we're gonna make sure you get through this 8 weeks with this plan, especially these 30 videos ready to go.
Yes. So that's our shortened version. That is what we're looking at this point. So what we're doing is April 1st and 2nd, we're doing the full webinar. So we're going to start promoting that. You guys are the first ones to kind of hear about it. We're starting to promote it tomorrow. And then we're going to
Yeah.
be giving the full webinar on the 1st and 2nd to essentially at least promote people. And then if they decide to join us or not. And the first class is scheduled to start for April 6th. And then it'll be 8 weeks, April 6th onward for those Mondays or whatever. And then doing the follow-ups doing the 2 times a week. So then the Thursdays you can come if you're having problems with production, if you're having problems with ideas, or if you just want us to review what you've made. That's what those Thursdays are going to be really about, to help you get more hands-on. And we are looking that these are going to be a smaller cohort of group, so we can really work with everybody as closely as possible to help them get established through the visibility engine.
That's the last slide,
That is the
right?
last one for
Okay.
this, for the mini one, for the mini
No.
presentation.
So I did a lot of I've pitched this to a lot of people this week, and the feedback's been great. And then they asked about live streaming, and I'm like, the live streaming is like an extra piece on top, because I need you, if you're live streaming, to pick that one time of the week you're going to be consistent and do it without failing. That's why YouTube University is always Saturday 9 a.m. Eastern, because I'm like, I can do Saturdays no matter if I'm in LA, Florida, or Dubai. I pick that time because I can do it. And be consistent, because I think we're on week 43 of it. I'm like, okay, it's no brainer now. I've had a couple people where they're like, hey, what do you think with my audience? And I'm like, if you're working full time Monday to Friday, I'm not going to tell you to live stream. If you're working a full-time job still and got this side hustle, the side business, I'm going to tell you just to do pick a time on the weekend, whether that's, Saturday or after church on a Sunday or whatever, because we want these pieces of this visibility engine to be audience building and not take away from your time, your life. Like literally, we're just gonna
Trying to make you work smarter, not harder, and
we're removing your
help
doom
to make it
scrolling
more.
time with you
Yes.
promoting yourself, right? So the live streaming's kind of on top, but I know a
Some
lot of
people may
people.
prefer that, and we'll be assisting them with like how to do that. They might want to go right into, if they're doing live streaming and if that's their preferred way, we might be really in incentivizing or teaching them how to make the shorts to help them get their 30 videos on top of their live streams, right? So so each person we're going to be looking and assisting you individually, or at least giving you the guidance to where to go. And then obviously you have to make the content, right? That is what we're
Yeah, it's the
looking
one thing, one stipulation. We will help you get your stuff done, but you still have to make your own contents.
Yes.
And we will show you how to edit longs into shorts. It's just you still have to come up with your ideas and make your content. And that does stop a lot of people. And they're like, well, I could just
And that's
live
an
stream. I'm
added
like,
service that we will offer. Like if you do need content production and help, that is something that in the like if you decided you're like, well, I love this, but I need somebody to do that, we do have that option as well to reach out individually and then we can help you. But of course, that's going to be a little more costly if you're going to get us to make your content,
well,
right?
and that's why the improve camps that we've announced in May. I think we're May 23rd, 24th. Don't quote me, I might be wrong on that day. We'll be at the White Room in New York with David Chemetsky and Morris Meyer because um we're bringing you're going to bring videographers in because I want you to learn the production checklists, learn the key pieces of the visibility structure and visibility engine and get content out of that day where it's like your origin story or why you started your business or what like just like get you in front of the camera and get some people. We had that feedback when we did the YouTube University in or the introduction of it in College Station with Darlene and her daughter Jen. Number one feedback. Why is there not a videographer here? And I was like, okay, I get it. We gave you such good ideas. You want to just get, I was like, that would have been a great opportunity for me to give video testimonials. And I was like, okay, great feedback. This is why we partner with people and do these things because I can come up with a lot of great ideas on how to get the ideas flowing in your business. And then somebody else gave me an idea. And I was like, okay, wait a minute. That's going on the production checklist, a video testimony, getting people in a class and having a videographer there. So, yeah, no,
Well, there is a lot of content. It's very much like even us traveling and how many times like, man, we should have recorded this. But often when we're living lives, the first thing we have not been in trained to do is literally go get a camera and record your difficulties, go record the insanities or whatever, right? So, and and that's okay. We're obviously, that becomes a book, maybe
well, no, no.
a future AI movie, right?
But you're also learning when you see like, okay, if you're following a content creator, like you can tell all our stuff is done from an iPhone or like this. We're streaming right now to two different YouTube channels. We're on Zoom. I'm streaming this to LinkedIn, my Facebook. I'm doing this from a MacBook. So obviously I'm sitting at a desk recording this. Some of my content you can tell I'm using my iPhone from my vehicle. But when you see other content creators with a lot of different camera angles, you're like, well, how are they doing that? And it's usually that they have like a gyroscope. They have a gyroscope, or they've got like a handheld like selfie stick with a gyroscope built into it, or they're walking around with a drone. But it's not like they're necessarily telling you the production steps behind the scenes. So you're like, well, this is cool, but like, how could I do that? Well, you would need to have the same level of production skills and checklists that they've already trained themselves on. And, you know, it's the only way you could, you would have to know how they're doing it and be trained on how to do. And that's exactly what this class is for. We're like, here's what we've been doing. We've been on YouTube for how many every year? It took us how many every years to get 1,000 subs and 4,000 watch hours. I think it can be really done like my goal is you should the whole reason I started this class on the YouTube channel itself, on the I Am YouTube Famous channel, it's like really 52 weeks. If you're building content 52 weeks in a row, 1 year, you should have an audience built. if you're consistent. But if you're not consistent and you're posting like YouTube wants to see something new every single week. They want it more than once a week, but it's like get it started once a week and add and add and add and add and then tell people about it. But if you're not consistent about it, it's gonna take you years. Like
Well, and in
when we
fairness,
started, we were not consistent at all. And we're like, wait a minute, people ask us for content. And you're like, okay, so my customers are asking me for how-tos. And I'm like, I should really build this out because then if you're asking me for a how-to, then I know other people have that question, but they're not brave enough to ask. And
well,
it
and
could
you have to think about how you even use YouTube, right? So if you're like always looking for somebody who shares certain videos or whatever, and then you're always excited. My daughter gets excited when her favorite creator has a new video, right? So that's a reality is you have to kind of think about it in that way of how you even use it, that you look forward to other people putting content out, especially when you start following people. Or I'll randomly wonder, like, what happened to that person that was making whatever type of videos? And then you wonder, and then you forget about them because you're not because unfortunately they're probably not going to remember your name or anything unless you're constantly posting, right? And then that way you can find them.
What's
And
that's a fun thing when I walk into rooms, like when I go to trade shows or when I go to events and I've not met somebody before, but I've watched all their content. And I'm
mhm.
like, "Hey, how are you doing?" And they cut off. You're like, "You watch me?" And I'm like, "You've been on YouTube since like you were 13 and you're in your 20s. And I haven't watched you 10 years, but I'm like, I'm obsessed with all your tips and your tricks. And, they're so humble because they're like, oh wow, like what I'm doing, I do what I do for these reactions because they're, not everybody's over salesy. They've just been recording themselves and how they've been helping people for years, and they just throw it up there. And then you're
And,
like,
and in fairness, it's not the same as being like a Hollywood star per
oh
se, right?
no.
Like when you're on YouTube, you know people see you, but you don't know who these people are. You might see a little name, maybe they comment, maybe they like, and then when you actually meet them in person, it is amazing meeting YouTube creators that you have watched and being like, I like your content. Like, well, thank you, because a lot of people will actually be scared to talk to other people because they think that there's somehow,
You found that lady
yeah.
in LA, and you're like, "Wow."
I went and talked to her, and I knew everybody else in the room knew her because everybody's seen her content, but nobody went and talked to her. And I'm like, well, I have to talk to her because I've really liked her content. And then I sat there and schmoozed with her. And then after I'm talking, everybody else wants to, right? Because like, oh, wait, maybe she's not so scary, right? Because I think that is the one benefit of YouTube is we've got real humans that are making the content. And even if you are doing AI, I wanted to bring this up today just because I watched a video about the AI content. And it's interesting because one of them maybe you guys have seen it was a channel that blew up really quickly and has disappeared. And it was what was it called? I was telling Mike about it, but it was something about like not boring history, but history to fall asleep to. And so it was AI generated videos that were about like soothing tones as they told you history to fall asleep to. Well, at a peak, they were making like almost $200,000 a okay, because they were making doing so well with views. And then YouTube shut them down. And they were analyzing, well, why'd they shut down? Well, there was a number of things. First off, they all videos were too similar. So even if you go and back and look at what they were showing with the thumbnails, it was exactly the same thumbnail, same wording on the same area, and then the same, like just a different maybe character for whoever they were talking about, right? And then again, it wasn't unique enough. It was probably AI generated scripts. So AI is definitely a good tool to make the content. However, you've got to really not, well, how did they say it was like brain rot? Like you have to add your ability into it. So really, I use YouTube or AI for maybe helping with some of my scripting, maybe not, depending on what I'm doing, and really for thumbnails. And that's just what I've chosen. If you can use it in your business and use it as a way to create your own likeness, like Mike was talking about that he's doing a cartoon, not cart, an animation, a
Comic book.
cartoon. Yeah. And he wants to put that into animation. Well, AI is wonderful for that because they can really take the characters that are created and make videos as long as you have consent by the people that are being created. Because if you are making people that look like other people and they're somewhat famous, that's going to cause you problems. That's why you don't see any, like, that's kind of disappeared off of YouTube, is any of these AI generated likenesses of anybody that's famous has almost completely disappeared. You're not going to see much of that. One thing I have seen is there is somebody who's making YouTube shorter videos that are essentially like a dystopian future, and it's this character who literally will give programs to the people coming in. So the people are coming in and they want to get the programs implanted or have these experiences, very much like all those movies we watch. All I can think about is the one where with Arnold Schwarzenegger and going to Mars or whatever. And they literally, it's the idea of the virtual reality, but none of the characters are famous people. And if they're making it their own unique content, then that is great. Totally. However, for a majority of people, if you really just want to brand yourself and your business using AI on the side, that's great. But you really want to get yourself that people build that trust, because that's where people are at this point where they don't know who to trust anymore. If we're all over the place and you start to follow somebody and you don't even know which platform they're going to find you on. It amazes me when I go onto certain platforms, because I will be the person. Mike's developed this because of me, because I'm like, I don't want to go on TikTok. I don't want to go on Instagram. I don't want to go on these social medias. I just want to make something and get it everywhere. And having that and then getting the feedback that suddenly you'll have like all these new people that follow, or all these other people that have found you, or somebody reaches out from a platform that you're not really active on. That is also the benefit of having it, because we do know right now Instagram, Facebook, your content disappears, right? So it'll only be up there for a short period of time. So that's why it's so important that you have this evergreen content on YouTube so it doesn't disappear, right? So that it's still there, it can still be found, even if, certain platforms, that's not really what they're built for. But it's also just reaching out so you can people can find you, right? Reach out and touch somebody. Because we no longer have the yellow pages, which was funny because we recently rewatched Bill and Ted's Most Excellent Adventures, of where they're traveling in the phone booths that don't exist. And even back then, it was the yellow pages to go back into time, and explaining to my daughter
I
that's how
think
you found
you
people.
know what, it's funny that you bring that up because I watched a short by Gary Vaynerchuk yesterday, and he's like, YouTube's the new yellow pages
There you go.
because, but it's better because it's
Yes.
not one ad. It's not one ad. You've got all of these, people find your page and you get all these listings about your services. So that is why we've built this visibility engine, because when people land on your YouTube, I want your YouTube thumbnail, the background, to have your call to action. It's like, hey, subscribe and sign up for my mail list. Or like people land there should be instructions, or like, of what to do, and then it should just be this curated experience of here's what we do, here's how we help people. And that's why I have playlists for my book, and then a playlist of my customer testimonials. And it's like, hey, you want to do it yourself tech support, here's the videos. Like, it's just curated. And that's where my watch time came from. I just kept sending people to, hey, here, you want to figure out how to make your own passwords that are, secure, strong. Go watch this. Go watch this. Go watch this. So
And,
I
and
did.
and another thing you pointed out, which is a really good benefit, we're talking about people who are going to trade shows, and you're like, "Well, I've got YouTube," and then Mike's saying, "Well, you know what? You just grab their phone and you go get them subscribed to your YouTube. Right up there's your business card, right? There's your business card. You're now
That wa- that
subscribed."
that 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 was the tips for a local business here. He's like, that's incredible, and I'm like, I know. And you do laser engraving, so just imagine being at these trade shows and just streaming. You're doing live laser engraving on cowboy hats and tumblers and keychains and all this stuff. And people like fire and they like seeing cool stuff. So I'm like, you literally have in your business, because you're not doing like you're literally putting something in a laser engraver and hitting go, like you could show people how their orders are being made. It just like I've got all these ideas for all these business
You
owners.
just don't do all those businesses. Like we don't
Example,
make anything super cool and fun, but we see other people and we're like, these would be great ideas. Nobody wants to take us up. So we're ready to, if you want to take these ideas, we have so many ideas for pretty much most businesses because we can see them. We just may not have been the skills to be the engravers or to be the chiropractor or any of those. Like I'm not a real estate agent, right? So, but I can see where we've watched and consumed enough content where we can definitely see the potential to assist people and help them build theirs. And so that's really the visibility is keep yourself visible, right? Because we are unfortunately a lot of people are being replaced by AI. Like that is just what's happening at this point. A lot of people, if you want to stay relevant, you have to produce something that humans want at this point. And humans do want to be, want to be entertained. And this far, that is something we can still have a little bit of a niche over AI at this point, right?
well, okay, you use AI for what it's good at.
Exactly.
Thumbnails, writing titles, writing a description. Yes, you still have to go and review what the AI output is to make sure it's legitimate and makes sense, right? And that's where a lot of people are using it wrong. They're just like output, output. And I was like, and I can just see it. I'm like, you didn't even do spell check on the words that were put on that AI piece of art. Or your phone number is wrong, or your email address is
Email.
wrong. You're promoting
Oh,
yourself with the wrong email address. You just instantly lose credibility when it's fully automated and you're not fact checking it. And that's what will get pulled off of YouTube, right? I'm just like, use these things as tools to promote yourself, but you still gotta fact check it because in my world, if I used AI to write a technology script, I still need to go through it and verify all the steps are legitimate, and I would do those steps because if not,
exactly, exactly.
if not, somebody's going to fact check you at some point, and I don't want you to be embarrassed. I
Or,
want you to.
and especially Mike, especially in tech, you're literally just spewing off BS. They're
I'm
gonna wreck something.
I'm already, yes. Well, I know because people tell me, hey, I followed ChatGPT instructions and erase my MacBook. And I'm like, call Mike first because not all the advice coming out of chatbots and AI is factual. They like to make stuff up. They like to hallucinate.
Well, there's a lot of problems where it even gets its information from because there's so many places it can't actually access to get information, which is why you have to fact check the AI, is because it actually has limited accessibility to information. That's part of the problem. And that was also me going down the rabbit hole of asking questions and fighting with AI and being like, well, why can't you do this? Well, because I'm not a human and I can't log into this account and I can't do this. So you have to go do it and then tell me what it says. And then you're like, okay, there's limitations, right? Because it's not. That's why, we still get those little boxes. Are you human? And you have to pick the little
I
like
get those. I get
the
those
bike.
I get those every single day.
And you know what? Still fail at them being a human. You're like, is that part of the wheel,
I
part of that bike?
yeah. I failed at a bot check this week. And it's like I don't think I should have failed at the bot check, but I was working on fixing Julie's app for her business. And I'm like, I have to move the code somewhere else. And like I do for other people in their apps. And I have to move the code somewhere else and go through it with a fine tooth comb because I
AI
have some
building me
I
code
have
that
some
wasn't necessarily.
suspicions
Yes.
that there's just a couple issues with the code because we keep crashing the server and I need to go there. It wasn't bad, but as I'm moving the code somewhere else to GitHub to have a different place for the code to be so I can fact check it, I failed the human verification tests. And it's like, this is embarrassing because I can't decipher the letters. And you can refresh and refresh and refresh. And you're like, none of these are even legible. So,
There's probably an AI generating these things, and you're like, this isn't even a proper character.
so anyway, it's we
That's
want you to build your, we want you to enjoy building your visibility and authority with YouTube. So we've built checklists, production checklist, like just weekly checklists, and we've got it in this 8 week sprint that we're starting on April 6th because a lot of people have been asking for more hands-on, more hands-on, more hands-on. And I was like, I have to build all these checklists that I've just been kind of using myself on one-on-ones with hiring clients. But I'm like, now after a year of going and talking YouTube every single week, it's to the point where we can put more students through it in a structured plan and see what new things we discover with a group after 8 weeks of a paid course. That's why we're like, okay, we're now at the point where it's rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat.
Yeah.
So anyway,
We wanted to let you guys know that that is coming. So watch, you can, if you want to reach out in the meantime, you can, but we will have links so you can register for the webinar. And if you do want to sign up and join us for that, because that'll be on top, we will continue the YouTube universities. We'll be continuing that. That is going to be every Saturday, same time, the 9 a.m. That'll be just like the extra feature too. So really you'll get the Mondays, the Thursdays, and then there'll still be the Saturdays that you could even have
this Saturday class is the Ask Me Anything. I don't think there was any questions today, so that's why we've been talking about the visibility engine and
exactly.
why.
So we're not planning on getting rid of it. It'll be just the add-on that you would get more specialized help during the week. And then the Saturday is still here for anybody that just wants to ask questions and will be open to everybody, whether you join us or not. So that's not going to change at all. Not in the plans of what we're doing. So you really would have 3 opportunities to work with us directly during the week.
But it's nice to have stuff to do with the students. So it's nice to have things to answer and fix. And there's less people in the class today, so we need to fix that by getting people into paid programs.
Yeah, well, it was spring and seemed to be whatever.
I
People
know,
were
I know,
excited
I
about
know,
spring
I know
yesterday.
it's spring break everywhere.
Yeah.
Everybody I've been reaching out to, they're like, oh, it's spring break. We're going away this week. And we're going away to this week. I'm like, this is why it's live streamed to YouTube, and you can just go watch the replay.
It's funny when we talk about that because we've been self-employed pretty much our entire adult lives, And it's so funny when you get to holidays because you just don't even resonate that people have holidays. It's like realizing the April 6th is Easter Monday. However, normally you're done your holiday, so everybody usually gets it off. So I was thinking that's okay to
We
start.
were
It's not Easter
okay.
Sunday,
You're
but
you're
I
bringing up
did
you're
have
bringing
some
up you're bringing up Easter. We wanted to do a pop-up event in Las Vegas on the Thursday before Good Friday. And our contacts like, oh, that whole weekend's Easter, like that's a no-go. And I was like, I didn't even factor in it was Easter. So
Yeah.
they said,
We
hey,
don't live on
any
holidays.
other don't you check holidays? And I'm like, but you're self-employed too. It's like,
We
okay, well, fine. If
we
you're
realize we've lived like this for so long that we forget holidays exist, right?
I
And
was
then
like, that's fine. I won't do Vegas on the week before Easter. That's fine. I've been told
Kristen,
no.
before we leave, she's got a question. Go ahead.
It was more of an observation because as you guys were talking, I was like, you're talking about visibility, and I haven't worked on the podcast much in the last 3 weeks because I've been busy with like real estate because it's our season.
Yeah.
So as you were talking, right, just so you guys know, this is how my life goes some days. I worked with somebody for 4 months, the commission's 60 grand. And when we found them 2 houses, not one, the next day he goes, I just got some bad news, so I'm gonna have to hold off on making an offer. Thanks for joining us. That is my world. So,
Well, I got an interesting story about Naples for you.
okay,
You know how you introduced me to your banker?
yeah,
And I waited in Florida. I waited. As soon as I got back to Texas, she's like, congrats, your bank account is open. You have to come back to Naples in person. And I'm like,
and
This is
sign and
why
stuff.
I sat in Florida so
They're not
long.
quick, I can tell you
I
that's
know, and
Florida.
it's fine. I was like, okay, thank you. So I was like, and we're waiting because on a list for YouTube events in LA, but I'm like, I don't really want to go all the way to the west and then go back to the east. So
Okay.
we're sitting in Texas, hovering at the moment because I was
You
like,
may
I
have to
felt
do the round trip flight where you get off and get back on in the same day.
well, the challenge was this week was spring break, and everybody's
Oh
like, do
yeah, you can't
not
do it this week.
fly during spring break, and I'm like, I already understand
I
that.
was supposed to be in LA this week and I told them on Wednesday, I said, absolutely not. I'm sorry.
So
I can't take the chance of even not getting back here because of these deals that are up in the air.
exactly. So I'm just like, we get it. And that's why we're like, hey, we've had a lot. So I'm like, okay, we're just gonna build this
Right,
hand
exactly.
holding 8 weeks to make sure that because we're almost at a year. I know you've produced your show, so congratulations. There's a lot of people, it's just like I'm like, I just know that everybody else needs a lot more hands-on holding. And I'm
Right.
like, I need to have this like framework, this repeatable framework Julie and I've been using. I'm like, I gotta like literally get it fully documented so that way if you come on, then you can have your team members and your virtual assistant learn it at the same speed that the business
Right.
owners learn because I'm talking to people who've already got content, and I'm like, I don't see it anywheres. Well, I'm
Right.
waiting on the VAs to post it. I'm like, why are we waiting on VAs to post it? Like, you should have a production checklist of like what you're doing weekly with this content and moving it forward
Yeah,
because
that's something I don't have,
I'm like,
so
why are we waiting for I'm like, why are we waiting for your $400 a month VA to do this? Like, you need a full time, you need a fractional production uh
Manager.
manager, and I'm literally that's my new title is I'm gonna make sure your stuff's produced because it needs to be we need to be making YouTube happy because it's the pinnacle. I don't care about Facebook or Instagram. Your stuff shows up for 24, 48 hours and then disappears off those platforms.
right.
Facebook deletes it after 30 days. YouTube's the pinnacle. It's the foundation. It's the footings, right?
Right.
Because people go to
Well, this
look
was,
for you,
yeah.
they're gonna find you on YouTube.
Yeah, that's what I have to work on because, but I wanted to just share an observation. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to, I'll know next week, but I'm trying, there's somebody in LA who has a podcast I might be able to get on. So while you were talking, I said, let's talk, let's go see. She's got 1 million subscribers. She's got 800 videos, over 800 videos on her site. And I'm
Okay.
looking at her latest views. Her oldest views, obviously it's been up 4 years, 27,000, 9,000, 20,000, whatever. Her latest ones, and this is somebody with 1 million subscribers, her latest average, with the exception of one, is in the we'll say 2 to 300s. And that's her whole page of her
Well,
latest.
but you understand that this is why my focus is build a real audience organically, get to your first 1,000, and then focus on your
Well,
content.
that's why I was looking at it to
Because
compare to
a lot
mine.
of, I'm going to share a story with you. This is the feedback I get from a lot of people. A lot of people. They don't know if their YouTube subscribers are real or fake because they hired an agency to
Yeah.
pump up their numbers. So that's why they're like, well, I'm like, let me see your watch time. Oh, no, 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 it's embarrassing. I'm like, if you've got a, if you got that YouTube plaque because you hit the 500,000 subscribers, the 100K, the 500K, the million, if you got those plaques and you don't have watch time, I instantly know you've got fake subscribers. You've paid
Well,
somebody
that's
to,
what I'm looking at because I'm trying to see, like, when I talk to, because I'm still trying to get the sponsors. If I
yeah.
talk to sponsors, I'm looking at this and I'm saying, well, if you look at mine, like my oldest episodes have the most views, obviously. I have 188, 133. I've got a very popular person in town because he used to be a principal. At 170. The rest of them are in the 40s to 100,
Mhm.
right? And I have 31 subscribers. And I'm like, if you look at it, my subscribers watch the episodes, her subscribers don't.
Exactly. You caught on. You know she's got fake subs.
And
So
that's,
I'm like,
you know, and
when,
how much more important it is to have real people that are
Because
actually, because that's because even if you're only getting, you know, like I get that too. Like I may have like 1900 subscribers, but I know what my average is, and those are the real people. And sometimes you don't even know that you end up with people that aren't
so
necessarily real, but it's
Kristen,
hard to get to 1 million without
this
somebody helping you get there.
this
right,
is what I run into is that people are like they're like, I got sponsors. I'm like, but you got sponsors based on your subscriber numbers, and those subscribers might be fake. So at some point, your sponsor, if you've got artificial subscriber numbers and not real watch time,
right,
at what point is your advertiser gonna clue in to say, "Hey, wait a minute, you're not even driving any organic traffic to what we're paying you to highlight and sponsor because the audience is fake."
Yeah.
You're like, you can. I've had a bunch of conversations with people who are like, "Hey, tell me how you do YouTube," and I'm like, "One video a week and organically promote it." They're like, well, what happens if I have an inactive audience? And I'm like, well, you would only have an inactive audience if you um have fake subscribers.
Well, and
How
when
do
you
how do I know if I have fake subscribers? I'm like, did you pay some agency to pump up your Instagram and YouTube numbers? They're like, well, I'm not going to disclose that. I'm like, you're telling me right to me, you're telling me right
yeah.
to my face that you bought your subs.
well,
Well,
and
that's one thing I'm going to use when out, because I, as you were saying, visibility. I was like, well, let me check hers,
Yeah.
because I'm trying to get on her show because she's supposed to be really popular and she has celebrities on there. But I'm like, but she only has like 300 to 600 views
She's,
and she got 1 million subscribers.
she's using it as the ego statistics. People,
Yeah,
I get this from advertisers all the time. They're like, Mike, we want to see 30, 50, 100,000 subs. And I'm like, I understand you're going after the ego statistic, but I'm like, I have watch time. And they're like, oh, well, we want big audience. I'm like, do you want big audience? Do you actually want active audience? And they don't, they're like,
yeah, that
30.
then they're computing. You see the numbers computing,
And I was
right?
like, that's
And,
fine.
and
I'm just making sure I'm organically promoting myself. I'm just gonna make sure that you're aware that I exist. So when you come back in a year or 2 years, you say, "Oh, hey, you're consistent. You run YouTube University. You're coaching people." And I'm like, "Yes, because I'm giving the power to my real life friends and not the fake friends." I'm like, the real
right.
friends who see that, oh, hey, Mike's consistent and Mike's training other people because he had a boom in business before COVID. COVID wiped me out completely. And I'm literally building from scratch. So I'm showing you it's not easy. And it's just consistency every day. And I have to go travel to new cities, meet new people, and meet real people versus the podcasters out there that say, hey, I'm the number one podcast. I'm like, yeah, might have those fake subs, but I can look at the YouTube back end. I type your channel name in, I can see who's monetized and who's not. And we've had a couple other students in this class that say, hey, I really like this influencer's YouTube channel and she's got more subs than you, so I'm gonna watch her and trust her. And I'm like, she may have subscribers, but she's got literally no watch time and she's just selling you a course. And I will do this for free for you on Saturdays. I may say, hey, you need more personalized one-on-one training because you're not getting any traction because you need a producer in your corner confirming that your stuff looks good as you go because you don't have the Hollywood experience, you don't have the acting training I have. But I can tell who has some of this training because I'm like, hey, you got amazing on-screen persona, like you should do more of it. And they're like, I have acting training. I'm like, I can tell you got acting training. I can tell you have on-camera training. You should be live streaming every day for like an hour.
well, and you have to keep it in perspective, right? Like the reality comes down to what is your return on investment? And that's something we're going to really talk about. And it is to be seen, right? And you want real people to buy your products, to watch your videos, to actually watch the full video, right? So yeah, having 1 million subs, but it, like that other lady too, if she's not necessarily consistent, maybe that's why it disappears, right? And if she's not also promoting it, like if she does have all these famous people, well, is she making clips to promote people to remember? Because again,
Yeah.
what actually can happen with YouTube is your video doesn't disappear, but it may not get a whole lot more traction until somebody goes and hunts it in that topic. So really in the first 24 hours, it will keep running and running and running. So that's how people will have what is it, like something go viral, because one person watches it and then everybody's watching it. And if your thing doesn't necessarily take off in that virality in that 24 hours, doesn't mean it's bad. It just means it's there and people will come across as you build up your real users, right? Because
Julie,
the real people are going to watch and start binge watching content from you, right?
exactly.
Like they start
But
watching, they get stuck in the loop and they're like, oh, I just suddenly
Right,
watched like
right.
5
but Julie,
episodes,
Julie,
right?
how many times per week do I say somebody bought their subscribers?
Yes, yes.
It's every single week.
And I do want to make that comment about podcasts in that, well, that's great, you're the #1 podcast, but if it's not on YouTube, you don't actually even know if people might download it, but do you even know if they're listening to it? You have no
Well,
idea. And
Right,
how do you know
right.
that people didn't
Well,
hire
I'm
bots to download the freaking
right.
well, no,
podcast?
no. The challenge is we came from a world with Apple Podcasts where people were automatically subscribing to podcasts and downloading them and not listening. So in order for your podcast, I talk to podcasters every single day and ask them what their actual view time is. They know what their downloads are, but they don't actually know what their view time, their listen time is, and that's because like
Doesn't tell them.
12% of
It doesn't.
12% of podcasts that are actually downloaded or listened to. So when you're on the Spotify or the Apple, those platforms, the reason we use YouTube is that YouTube gives us actual granular analytics at a small audience level. Apple and Spotify, you have to have like 4,000 downloads before you even register on their
Yeah.
system. And then it's 10 to 12% of those downloads are actually listened to. So it's just because we were programmed, hey, sign up for Apple Podcasts and go subscribe to everybody. Like Apple was training you to tell people to subscribe to your podcast and to download it. Doesn't mean they were counting downloads. And I'm like, hey, let's count so actual subscribers on YouTube because we think they're people because they've subscribed. It could be bots, but I don't think a bot's just gonna go subscribe to you unless you paid for those bots to subscribe to you. It's the watch time, right? And YouTube's gonna
Right.
flag if YouTube has mechanisms. They know there's fake subscribers. They're more focused on fake watch time. So if they like I've seen this in the last when I was in Florida. I saw this in person. Somebody showed me their watch time, and he's like, why is my watch time flagged?" And I'm like, "Dude, most of your videos have 20, 30 hours of watch time, and one's got 60,000." And it just looks a little bit suspicious
Yeah.
because, and he's like, "Oh, I was working with a VA in Bangladesh," and I'm like, "You just told me you cheated. Like you just told me you cheated." Like,
Right.
so delete that
Well, I gotta
video
get,
and
It's
redo
I
cheating,
your
have
or
to
you're
get more
video.
trying,
visibility.
yeah,
So
you're trying to manipulate, but in reality is
you may be able to, okay, you may be able to get away with it, but you're gonna find it reflected in your business because you cut a corner and you can say you might be able to get advertised. You're like, hey, look at these subs, look at this watch time. But you know if you're making money from your audience or not. You know if people are booking in your calendar and hiring you for your services.
or buying what you're
You may be
selling,
able
right?
to lie to yourself, but you can't lie. Like you know what's going on in your business. You know if you got leads coming in. You know if people are clicking on your Google Maps. You know, right? Because if I
Mhm.
ask you and you're shady about it, I know, and I'm like I can help you, but we have to do the real work. So anyway, Great
Yeah, that's what I'm
discussion.
trying to work on now because I notice my viewership's fallen down. But I also understand it's spring break, people are distracted, it's our season, so maybe everybody's just busy
Kristen, I, ne-
running around.
I never guaranteed overnight success. I'm like, it's a
Yeah.
grind. I told like my
No,
wife.
I'm willing to grind. I just
My
know
my
this, I
wife's the
have to
number
do a
one
little bit more.
example. She's like, I want feedback. And I'm like, okay, well, we need to promote all the different aspects of your business because some are gonna be
Yeah.
um attracted to business competence and your experience. Some are gonna be, this is why she's developing this astrology ecosystem, and we've been asking for beta testers. We know the software's not perfect right now, and there's gonna be software bugs because we've been building it so long. We're like, hey, I want this feature, I want this feature. You fix one thing, you break another. So the beta testers are coming in to say, hey, this doesn't work. It looks nice, but this doesn't work. We're like, well, it worked last week. Like, and then we're like, okay. And we're just like attracting people from all, like some people we know, some people we don't know. And we're like,
And
hey,
I'm going to say that is actually one of my biggest feedback that people are watching is these people that I've never met reaching out to be a beta tester. And that's like, because it's something I'm offering. And then they have to go to my website, they have to fill out a form, and then I get it. And I'm like,
and
wow,
Julie's getting
there's
them on the
actually
email list.
people.
So she's building the audience because this is the number one thing. I'm like, hey, if they're coming to your YouTube, get them on the email list because they may be attracted to one part of your, what you're doing, and you've got all these other things you can offer them. That's your like essential ladder, right? But um, we want, I understand people want feedback. I'm like, I understand you want to see your subscribers increase, your watch time increase. We recently started producing events for my friend David Vrablik of New Beginnings Motivation because I'm like, they have an amazing group of people and he hosts these virtual summits. And I'm like, let's get it, I know Zoom works amazing for large groups. So let's get this live streaming to more audiences. Activate your YouTube, activate your Facebook audience, activate your Facebook business page. I can't say there hasn't been technical issues because he's texting me all the time. Hi, David, if you're watching. Talk about you. Um, it's just like there's always this is why I'm like, hey, dude, we've got this production list. It's like your Zoom, you're like your internet connection, your computer needs to be rebooted, your Zoom needs to be up to date. If you were playing with Otter.ai or any other transcription tools this week, we need to go turn those off. Like we've got this checklist now because he's like, there's still technical frustrations. And I'm like, let me remote in and figure out what went wrong this week. And then he's like, hey, he's like, oh, we made it so much easier. I'm like, it's taken us a month to figure out why certain times things go sideways, but there's a lot of environmental variables. And I'm like, hey, we're building you this checklist. So at some point, you're going to start Zoom and Restream and connect to all these platforms. There's going to be one day there's no tech issues. And then I'm going to
You
just,
can't guarantee that. Don't lie.
well,
Because then because you know
it
what'll
may
happen?
break it
It'll
may
work.
break in the future, but I'm
No, Mike,
emotionally
because you know what'll happen. They'll have it down and then they'll be like, I just want to add another social media
that
aspect
is
to it. And then
that this
everything
is
goes.
and this is what we've done with yours on Sunday. We're
Yeah.
like, okay, to live stream to TikTok, we had to warm up TikTok because TikTok you have to go live multiple times in a 30-minute interval before they allow you to live stream longer. So TikTok has to be warmed up for like a Zoom
Well, and
restream.
we figured out how to do Rumble and Substack and everything.
Rumble's annoying because you have to have that like it has its own
Right,
broadcast
right, it
software.
is.
And
Yeah.
then Substack has its own way to warm it up. And then if you want to, people ask me about I can do custom Roku channels, but I'm like, that's an investment, and there's no point until you have
People.
24 hours of content that you can read. But it would be perfect for like concert halls, rodeo circuits, churches that have concerts and they want to charge. Roku's really like the, do it yourself pay-per-view. So I'm like, there's all these different places we can stream your stuff to and build. Like Roku's got an amazing audience, but I'm like, nobody's gonna watch you if you're going like you got random clips. That's why YouTube's the starting base for you to build your brand and build your channel. And then
And
once
then
you've got enough content there, we can just automatically connect YouTube to Roku. But you need like at least 20, you need a couple solid days of programming to even activate these higher end systems, but we've
But
learned
this
how to
is
do it
Yeah.
also
all.
this is also the whole game plan of how we can help people expand past that, right? So that's the idea, is that there's a lot of potential, but you got to start by making it to begin with.
I'm
It
just
makes
trying
it
to get eyeballs. I just want eyeballs.
it's consistent, and that's why I'm like you're live. I'm like if you're gonna commit to the live, you have to be the same time, the same day, once a week, because that audience, when you start building that monster, that audience will like take offense if you're not there. And
Yes. Yes.
I don't want you to burn yourself out doing that. I'm like, hey, let's start with the little pieces and build up the little pieces on YouTube. And then when you're ready to do the full on YouTube University or beauty tips or makeup consulting or blowing shit up on
When I get
film.
enough people, I would go live. I don't think I have enough yet. When I get
Um,
enough of whatever I need, I would go live once a week and just talk about
what
history
what
in Naples.
what
But
what you can do is if you could restream um your episodes because the broadcast software we're using, you can do a live feed like I'm doing right now, or you can take your already recorded stuff and run it because we want the subscribers on the YouTube to be told when you're going live. So it's just you make the content and then you can always rebroadcast it as a live, but that's going to be
okay,
in the production checklist. It's just like
yeah.
there's a lot of cool stuff we can do, but um
I
again, I
just need
don't
to get eyeballs so I can get the sponsors so I can keep doing the show.
I'll send you the I've just been promoting recently like the ROI checklist and the production checklist are going to be they're going to be part of the 8 week plan that we're running because they're like stuff I've made all these handouts and I just haven't released them yet because I only want to give them to the people who
Okay,
appreciate them and are
absolutely.
going to
Yeah,
actually use them because I don't
yeah,
need people redistributing my stuff on the
a hundred
internet and
percent.
as you get it. So
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
there's
and
a
then
lot of
offline we'll have a conversation of an idea, well, not an idea, something that came up with working with the studio.
yeah.
I'm putting it together, but probably next week we
No
can get
worries.
together.
I will let you know when if I'm driving or flying to Naples. I want to do it before I go back to Canada because literally
Yeah,
I've been
But
there
we're
might be a
running out of time because we've got
yeah,
to get back so we can come back again in May. So we
I
literally have
know.
to
I
leave
know.
and get back.
But
So
I went to a bank yesterday here and they're like, come back on Monday with this. And I was like, it's not a no. It's not a yes, it's not a no. It's like
right.
we want another piece of identification. I'm like, you could have told me this before confirming the
I-
bank appointment. But anyway,
Yeah, I get
great
it. I get
class.
it.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
everybody for showing up. We'll see you same time, same place next week.
yeah, and reach out. You guys know how to contact us if you have questions in the meantime. We'll see everybody.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Bye.